up, my sweet little garbanzo beans? Sorry, I had to adjust my shirt because I was uncomfortable. So today's video is going to be part of this larger spiritual content series that I'm doing. And I kind of had a little bit of an odd topic I wanted to talk about today. I have had the distinct and beautiful gift, the pleasure of helping people along their spiritual path in the last year, but especially getting started with their own divination journey, particularly regarding tarot. And I wanted to address something that I see come up a lot. And if anybody here has had any experience with learning divination, particularly with learning the tarot, I'm sure you can relate to this. But when people are learning, it's a lot of information. It's, they're 78 card decks and every card has multiple meanings. And then if you have uprights versus reversals, it can be a lot. And I definitely understand that. And I think it's not uncommon that many people, when they are learning the tarot, end up keeping, whether it's a book or a website they like to go to or videos they like to go to, it's their guide through this process, and they keep it glued to their hip whenever they draw. And I totally understand that. That was completely me when I was learning. But a thing that I kind of hear a lot from people who are starting their divination journey is, maybe they'll do a draw and they will, I'll have friends who have had to learn, and then they will send me pictures of their spread and they'll be like, okay, well, normally this card doesn't mean this, but I kind of am feeling this. I'm confused. And that's an excellent question. So what I kind of want to talk about is essentially how to read the two elements of a card. And I'm oversimplifying a little bit, but and I want to mention this topic is very multifaceted. This topic also talks about the importance and the role of symbolism in tarot, as well as understanding your own intuition, your own intuitive gifts. And those are separate videos. If you guys are interested in seeing those, you're interested in hearing more about those topics, I am happy to make those, because I could talk about tarot for 1,000 lifetimes, and I don't know. It's great. But the biggest thing I wanted to talk about is essentially what it boils down to is the denotations and the connotations for tarot cards. So if you think about it you would think about a language, right? And I kind of mentioned this in my What is Your Intuition video, which I will link. Is it up here, up there, wherever it is? I'll link that in case you guys are interested. But if you think about what is kind of that role of what is your intuition, and we talked about how it is the language, it's the conduit through which your great big something kind of speaks to you. And within that, I kind of got thinking about it in that context, within those parameters. And so each card is a message, right? So you ask a question, you get cards, and the cards tell you about the energies of what's going on. The cards can sometimes give you straightforward answers. And honestly, that's almost a separate video in and of itself about the major uses for tarot. So if you guys are interested in that, feel free to comment that down below, because I have so many thoughts. But, with each card, there are a bunch of associations, there are a bunch of different meanings, and so honing in on exactly which one your guides, your great big something, is trying to communicate to you can be a little bit of a struggle. So when I think about it like a language, I think about each card kind of like a word or a phrase, right? And, in any language, words have essentially two meanings. They have the denotation, which is the strict definition, and it's strictly written meaning. And then there's the connotations, which are the kind of subtle or more overt cultural, societal implications that go along with that word, right? And so in tarot, I think it works very similarly. You can have the denotations, the more classical, for lack of a better term, strict definitions, and then you have the associations. And the associations can be both personal, or they can be more communal and more ubiquitous. And the the connotations can have a lot more freedom to change over time. It's easier to change the connotations of something than the denotation of something. Similar to how we would experience it with language, is that, can we get a word added to the dictionary? Of course, but it's not as easy as coming up with a slang term or a widely understood meaning for that word like you would with its connotation. So for a good example of this, if you've been interested in tarot or you've like watched some tarot videos, I'm sure you have run across the infamous Three of Cups. So this is a really good example about how the denotations and the connotations have kind of become very far apart, at least currently. So like the denotations for the Three of Cups, and this isn't an exhaustive list, this is just kind of like a quick one, is it's about, celebration and reunion and time with friends and, like dancing and drinking and having a good time, just really enjoying life, right? Really getting the joy out of life, and especially with soul tribe members who lift you up, who fill your cup. I didn't mean to rhyme, but now we're here. And its denotation over the years has become, not even really over the years, but really more recently, its denotations have kind of become about, some things that are less than positive, which can be like, it can kind of symbolize drinking too much, partying too much, people who are kind of just around for a good time. And it's become like synonymous in love readings with like a third party situation. And there's nothing wrong if you read it like that, right? Like this is kind of the whole point of the magic of your own journey, is everybody will have their own personal connotations. There will be communal, ubiquitous, public connotations, but the cards also have their own denotation. And this is why you can have literally thousands of readers and have them all read so differently and interpret so differently, is because everybody has their own unique ratio of preferring, of the universe speaking to them through the denotation of a card versus the both public and personal connotations of their cards. And this is again why you can have so much variety, why you can have, get thousands if not millions of tarot readers, and you still, you might not vibe with everyone, or you really resonate with a couple and then not others. Is just because they're in your similar energy frequency, right? They read in a way that is speaks to you at an energetic level. But that's kind of one of the many ways in which you can create so much variety, even that one area of tarot among readers. You can have so much variety because there are so many meanings, right? And I think some of this is also a confidence thing. The more you read, the more comfortable you become with like all of the meanings, the more I feel like it makes it easier to branch out, right? When you know what you're doing and you kind of like know what each card roughly kind of means for you, it frees up that mental energy to be able to kind of be more in flow for some people, and some people have no problem with that. But it can kind of free up some of that energy to be more in flow, to read the cards in a way that feels more natural to you. So this was just kind of like a little, mostly like a little encouragement if you're starting. It's totally okay if you still have like a book or your phone glued to you at all times to check. That's totally fine. And B, it's also really totally fine if you don't read like other people. Some people read almost exclusively off of like that personal connotations of the cards. Some people are very strict about the denotations. They stick to the classically denoted meanings. Some people have a mix. Some people kind of just like follow the vibes of the reading and see where it goes. None of that is wrong. None of those choices are wrong. But this is kind of just explaining how you can get a lot of different variety in the tarot. It's just solely based on that one part alone. It can create so many different ways to interpret even a single card, let alone, a 3-5+ card spread. So that is just about the long and short. I'm gonna, get off my high horse here before the air is too thin. But if this was helpful, please let me know if you want to see any of the content ideas I mentioned earlier. I am going to be trying to release more spiritual content in general. I like to talk about tarot a lot, so that's probably where I'll start, but I am open to talking about any number of subjects, and anything I don't know, I will research for you guys, because your girl likes to research. So yeah, I hope this has been helpful. If you have questions, comments, leave them below. I will answer all of them. Oof, I had to burp. I'm so sorry. But with that, I am wishing you guys all the best and the most beautiful things that life has to offer. And thanks for coming by to chat. I'll see you guys soon. Bye, love bugs.